Welcome. The Rhode Island Federation of Teachers is doing a whole series. It's 6 sessions on different aspects of AI in education. I'm just going to mention that here in Cranston, Pete and I are both from Cranston. I am fully released out of the classroom. My name is Kathleen Torregrossa. I'm fully released out of the classroom to be the district's coordinator of professional learning, mentor programs, coaching, all things that help and support teachers. And one of the things that Pete and I have done in the past 2 years has been right on top of AI, because we fell in love with it on day one. So we've been playing with it and thinking about the best ways of incorporating that into instruction. Pete, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hey, good evening, everybody. Pete Guyon, Cranston Public Schools. Like Kathy, I am fully released from the classroom, and between the two of us, we've been trying to keep our teachers in Cranston up to date on what's going on in the AI world. But as you can imagine, or as you can see in the news, it's ever changing and growing at such a rapid pace that sometimes it's tough to keep everybody informed at the same time. So for the Cranston teachers that have joined tonight and all the other teachers, it's a relatively small group. So please ask away. Kathy and I will be giving you time to try a couple of different things tonight as well. So if you haven't had time to try a few things, hopefully tonight you'll have that opportunity. And then if you encounter any issues or if you have any questions, like I mentioned, use any one of the tools we have, whether it's in the chat, whether it's raising your hand. Once again, it's such a small group that even unmuting yourself and asking away is totally fine. Kathy and I are very informal when it comes to presenting virtually and answering anyone's questions. So welcome, everybody. It's the first of 6. You said, Kathy, I believe, right? So
yep, first of 6.
People
didn't get tired of us, Pete.
Yeah, hopefully not. We spread it out, I think, just enough where hopefully you won't. But we'll put a little plug in for future sessions as well, where we focus on just a couple of specific tools. But tonight's kind of an introduction to AI and prompting, actually, and a few tools. So welcome.
Yeah. So these are yours, Pete.
Yeah, so I'm going to just jump in. I'm going to present my screen, if you don't mind, Kath.
Sure.
I'm just going to jump in real quick. So we're going to ask you, as soon as I open the correct tab, just a few questions, just so Kathy and I can get a baseline of where everybody is in regards to AI. And if, I'm assuming everybody can see the screen. If you can take a second, and hopefully you're not on your phone, but if you are not on, or if you are not on your phone, if you can take it out and open your camera and scan that QR code, or if you are on your phone by any chance, you can go to slido.com, slido.com, and put in that number. And we just have a couple of active polls to ask. The first question being, have you ever used AI, any tool, in your classroom?
Yay. These are the numbers we like. Some yes, some no.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully some of the Cranston teachers said yes there.
We don't know who said what. It's anonymous.
I know. So, but absolutely, and we're all at different stages of using AI. And one of the things that I know Kathy will mention, and I'll also say now as well, is a lot of the AI that we share with teachers in our district is around or are around teacher-facing tools. So what tools can teachers use right now? Student-facing tools encounter a whole bunch of other issues, such as privacy and age restrictions and so on and so forth. But we'll talk a little bit about them as well. But predominantly, Kathy and I will be talking about just tools that you can use as educators in the classroom. All right, great. So I can't recall how many people we had, but we had 11 people respond. 73% say yes, there has been an opportunity at any point to use any AI in the classroom, and a couple that have said no, which is completely fine as well. our goal is to provide you with some resources, as I've already mentioned, but something that you can leave tonight and use immediately tomorrow. So hopefully we will do that for you, for those who haven't used it.
And kudos to all of you, because 73% is actually one of the higher numbers that we've seen when we've done these. So that's cool.
Yeah, the more often we do sessions like this, it seems like it goes up just that little bit, Kath. I agree. So you should see, hopefully on that screen now, a different question. You don't have to scan the QR code or go to that website. It should be the same question. If you did reply yes in the previous question, what tools have you used? And you don't have to name them all. You can name your top 1, 2, 3 at the most. But what tools have you used in your classroom, if once again you have used AI in the classroom? The response shows up as a word cloud, so more frequently an answer is given the larger the size of it.
Wow, a lot of good tools here. Brisk, tried today.
Yeah,
love it.
Excellent.
I love Brisk. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have a session dedicated strictly to just Brisk in the future. One of our favorite. For who got trained on Magic School? Excuse me. I'm just curious if, I think I saw Woonsocket, Warwick, and Pawtucket as other districts in the chat. Was it purchased by your district, or was it just the free version? I'm just curious.
It's just the free version. Pawtucket isn't buying anything. We have no money. We have no superintendent. We have nothing.
Yeah, well, the good thing is here. Oh, just about all.
So who did? Can I ask who did the training yesterday?
Tracy Carimo.
Oh, hi, Tracy. Okay, so Tracy did the training. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, Tracy. Great.
Yeah, so most of the
cool. These are good. These are all good tools.
Most of the resources or just about all the resources that Kathy and I will share with you are free. So if you are like Cranston, like Pawtucket, and I'd imagine many districts are in a similar situation where there isn't a lot of funds available, we do try to share free resources. So I guess that's also important to emphasize. You know, ChatGPT has been around the longest, so it makes sense that would be the most popular. We're going to talk a little bit about ChatGPT tonight, as well as a few others that are listed here as well. And our last question is for those of you that listed that you use it in the classroom and listed some of the AI tools. Just curious on 1, maybe 2 different ways you've used any of those tools listed there. Doesn't have to be a complete sentence. It can just be right to the point. Lesson planning, definitely. Differentiation, yes. Communicating with parents, absolutely. Exemplar writing samples, fantastic. Testing strategies, yes. Looks like we have a few more typing away there. Reference letters, yes. Differentiation. For those of you who aren't familiar with Notebook LM, as I mentioned, we do have a session dedicated just to Notebook LM, but super neat tool, completely free from Google, where you can upload anything into it, a website, a YouTube video, an audio file, pasted text, anything from your Google Drive, and then you have the ability using AI to interact with whatever sources you upload to it. And probably the neatest feature of it is its ability to create basically a podcast. And in fact, I took this slides presentation, uploaded it into Notebook LM, and created a podcast for you. It's towards the end of the slides presentation. We'll play just a little bit of it when we get to that point, only because you need to hear the voices, if you haven't heard yet, the two voices that are used in the podcast. Before I heard it for the first time, I was thinking that kind of robotic, monotone voice that sometimes is used to read text on a screen, and it's not like that at all. So we'll kind of tease you with that towards the very end, but yeah, a fantastic tool, completely free.
Yeah, Pete.
Well. And developing.
Yeah, I did that.
No,
I did the podcast last semester when I was teaching the modern Middle East. I uploaded the Balfour Declaration, and my students, from the overhead, the whiteboard, with this, and my students were like, "Well, what's this?" Because we were reading about it, and they started doing a podcast about it, and it was like we were live. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. It's a pretty neat tool, and you have the availability for those of you that may have students who speak a different language, MLL students, whatever the case may be, that you have the ability to now have it generated in different languages. And we'll talk more about that when the time comes with Notebook LM. So all great ways of using AI in the classroom. We're going to show those of you who aren't familiar with using AI in the classroom some different tools that you can use to get started tonight, and also some other opportunities for those who have used ChatGPT to possibly use a new feature in Gemini to help you with something. We're going to go over that as well today. So good stuff.
When I'm looking at the number, the people that are in the session, it looks like everybody's a Google district, but am I wrong? Is there anybody that is not a Google district? Okay, that makes things a little bit easier.
I just tried to get on Gemini and Notebook LM, and Pawtucket has both of them blocked.
So, yeah, Laurie, I think we had this conversation with Melissa Lavassiere at some point, because I think at the admin level, it is blocked. So you would either have to have a conversation with somebody at the admin level to unblock it for teachers, which they clearly can, because Cranston has it unblocked for Cranston teachers. But my recommendation is, I believe both tools, and I'm pretty sure all the features with both tools are available to you in your personal Gmail account as well.
Correct.
Yep. Which is,
I guess they're coming up with wording on privacy and that type of thing so that we can have some sort of consistency throughout the district.
Which makes a lot of sense. We can talk a little bit about policy. Cranston created a very vague and small policy. Ours is like this big, because AI is changing so quickly that we didn't want to wrap ourselves around a policy statement that was going to strap us with everything new that was coming out. So we can talk a little bit about that. But the Gemini and the Notebook LM, the district can set those so that they're open only for teacher use. And in so doing, you can still create materials in those two things and push them out through your Google Classroom to students to see. But yeah, you're gonna have to have a conversation with them. We can certainly talk to Melissa about it as well.
Okay, thank you.
I think the next couple parts were you, Kat, so I just stopped presenting.
Okay. I figured that's what you were doing. Alrighty. So let's move this along. Here we are. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of like high level thing talking and talk about experiences. And most people that are new to this are worried about it. And so we're going to get those worries out on the table and let's address some of those so that we can move on. But let's talk a little bit about why we should be using AI. And teachers really should be using AI. AI is not going away. It is a cultural shift. And if you've been teaching in education for a little while, you know that when something major changes in our culture, in the country, in the world, it comes into our classrooms. We can't avoid it. We can't avoid it. So we have to deal with the news and we have to deal with what's happening, in the world around us. We have to accommodate that as well. But more importantly, it is already in the workplaces. And our number one job is to prepare kids for the workplace. We want them to be successful when they leave us in grade 12. And AI is in just about every industry now. And so we need to have kids have an expectation and an understanding of what to use AI for, what not to use it, and when they are using it, how do they use it appropriately? So again, the world changes around us. We're going to change again with it. I remember as a middle school student being yelled at by my nun that was teaching math for having the latest and greatest Texas Instrument calculator. And she was mortified. And now kids are walking around with calculators on their phones, right? So we know that one of the big concerns with AI is that there are a lot of jobs that are going to disappear. But again, with many cultural shifts that we've gone through, when new jobs are eliminated by new technology, other jobs are created. So we will have many more programmers, many more coders, many more designers, technology designers. So will we lose some positions? Yep. Will we gain others? Yes. I use the analogy of, at some point we stopped using horses to plow the fields and we created tractors. The horses surely didn't mind that they didn't quite have to plow fields all anymore. But think about the jobs that created in the Industrial Revolution to create new jobs. So it's the way of the world. So we are going to prepare kids for the workforce that they're entering. And we have to teach them what AI is, what it can be, what you can do with it. How do you use it appropriately? How do you use it ethically? Do you have the skills? What are the skills you needed? So it's kind of a cultural shift, but it's also a technological shift. And it is also changing so fast. So one of the things we're going to talk about tonight is just some of the base level skills that even as the technology changes, some of these attitudes and cultural shifts will not change. They've been pretty stable. So what we want you to be able to walk away from tonight is that an understanding of why you probably should try using AI, but we also don't want you to drown. If you remember COVID and we were all of a sudden at home and we were playing with all this technology and trying to teach kids in technology, and we're trying to drown and learn because every tech company out there was throwing for these free materials at us. We were drowning in all these different tools. And so let's try that. Oh, let's try that. Well, you can do the same thing with AI, and we're going to coach you not to do that. Pick a few things that are appropriate for your job, your content area, for your comfort level, and then stick with them. Because AI will save you a whole lot of time, but it does take time to learn it. So you have to spend some time learning those and then just use the same ones over and over and over. That's where you save time, when you understand how to use the AI and you just keep on using it. And down you'll see here, it says follow district policy. So let me just go into a little bit about what we did in Cranston. We thought about this pretty deeply. And I researched AI policies all over the country. If you're looking for a really in-depth policy on AI, look at North Carolina, the state of North Carolina. They have pages and pages and pages and pages and a whole website that is all their policy on AI. And then you can look at Cranston. It's right on our webpage. In Cranston, what we did was we wrote, we're not having our elementary kids use AI. We allow our 8th graders to use Canva, and anybody that's using Canva needs to know that Canva is now powered by AI, and there are chatbots built in within Canva that students can ask questions, which is why we don't use Canva with our younger students, because they'll be exposed to an AI bot. So our third, and Canva is for 13 and up. So we think that's our 8th graders. So we're using Canva. And then any AI that teachers want to use and are comfortable using with high schoolers, they're welcome to do that. Our district policy says AI will be used in the high schools at teacher discretion. That covers a lot, but that's all it says. So it's up to our teachers. They decide the tool that best matches their content area and the tasks that they want kids to do. And they then teach the students that AI, that they need, that tool, whatever it is. And they also teach the protocols, just like you teach protocols for behavior management, or your homework goes in this file and this goes here and these are your folders, and however you manage the rest of your life, you manage the rules and protocols for using AI. You do what I tell you to do, and this is how you're going to use it. And that's the best way of kind of managing it. The only other piece that we changed in our tech use policy was in our plagiarism section. We added a section to the plagiarism section on AI, and we basically took, I looked at both the MLA formatting for citing AI and the APA formatting for AI. The MLA one was a little bit simpler, and it had 2 versions. The one where if I'm writing like an essay and I had a quote that AI gave me and I want to cite it within the text, the in-text citation. And also MLA had a very simple, if I just want to create a bibliography, the end of text citation, a bibliography type citation. So we put the MLA format, the 2 examples of MLA format for citing AI, and we're asking everybody to do exactly the same thing. So our 9th grade teachers need to teach that formatting, and then the rest of the grade levels don't have to teach it because it's just going to keep it going all the way through. So if you use it, you cite it. If you're using it, it's because your teacher told you to use it. If you're using it, it's because your teacher told you not only to use it, but how to use it. What are the parameters? You can use it for this, you can't do it for this. So it's up to the teacher, and then the teacher also is going to ask for citations. Oh, sorry. So the other 2 things that I just want to talk really briefly about, because I know you really want to do some tools, is there's 2 aspects of when we talk about understanding how to use AI, and that's digital citizenship. And my cat has a paper bag to play with, which it's been here for 2 weeks, and she hasn't touched it, and now she's decided to touch it. So if you hear the paper bag in the background, that's the cat. Oh, she's so funny. So there are 2 things that when we talk about kids using AI, it's digital citizenship and digital literacy. Now, citizenship refers to using it appropriately, following what the teacher says. I want you to use it to do this. You can't copy and paste a whole bunch of stuff. You have to cite things. You're going to use only this site. And then digital literacy is that they have the knowledge and skills to use it. That it's basically what you're coming here tonight is to build your digital literacy skills, how to use the tools. So one is, how do I use the tools? And then kind of what is the citizenship is really the ethical responsibilities while I'm using those tools. Digital citizenship is really about that etiquette, not stomping on somebody else, being aware of your online presence. It's really about cybersecurity. We really need to teach kids about how to protecting their personal information online, because it's too easy to have a breach. We also need to make sure that kids understand what their rights are and how to check privacy policies whenever they're using something. Again, all of this is in the slide deck, and you have the slide deck. So I'm really going quick, but if you have a question, stop me. On the digital literacy side, those are your basic computer skills. It's, understanding how to open the computer, how to, access my email, how not to share my information with others, to keep it private to me. It's also understanding how to find information appropriately. How do I create a prompt and get the information I need? Using it to collaborate with others, but using it to collaborate with others in a safe way. And then the creation of the digital creation is when you do create content, like if you're going to create an image in Gemini, to be able to do, or creating documents or creating a new presentation, that you're doing that responsibly and you're not stealing from others and saying it's yours. And then at the bottom of this slide, and we're going to talk about this again in a little while, There's a link here. It's called the ISTE Standards, the International Society for Tech Educators. It's the ISTE Standards by grade level. And so it starts with preschool and it goes up through grade 6. And if we taught all the skills about how to use AI appropriately from preschool through grade 6, then those kids would already have the skills and our secondary teachers would not have to worry about it. But my secondary teachers, because we were kind of new to this, we're asking our secondary teachers to look at grade 6 and kind of build on the skills in grade 6. And when you go into those standards, you can go into grade 3, if that's what your grade is, or grade 6, whatever your grade is. And you can look at, what I did for you is I highlighted in like a lavenderish purple color, all the standards that are related to digital literacy and digital citizenship, which apply to AI use. And those are like in the kindergarten, it's, you know how to use your QR code badge to sign on, and that you don't give your badge to somebody else, because then they're going to open up and then the data that is being collected, it looks like it's about you, but it really isn't about you. That's a kindergarten skill. That's a conversation having kindergarten and being reinforced in 1st grade and reinforced in 2nd grade. But those are the kind of skills kids need to hear all the way along.
I just went to that and it says access denied.
Okay, I'll check. Okay, I'll fix that when Pete's talking. Thank you, Lori.
Yep.
Okay, so let's just talk about this. Some of these things are things that you already know. So the challenges that we have when we think about using AI is plagiarism. That's the first thing that comes up. Our ELA teachers are saying, and our ELA and our social studies teachers are definitely dealing with this. So plagiarism is definitely a thing. And again, that comes down to you setting the parameters of how they're going to use AI. And you may not want to have students using AI, and that's absolutely fine. If you're here just to learn how to use it yourself, when I'm stopping talking, we're going to go to tools. Another challenge is just the time. It takes time to learn these tools. This is new and different, and these are powerful tools. Every single one of them can do so much for you. And so it takes time to learn those tools. That's a challenge. We don't have a lot of time. The benefit is it also saves time. Once you have learned a tool, it really saves you a ton of time. It can do a lot for you in very short seconds. One of the other benefits that I find is there really are new perspectives on teaching something. It gives me ideas about, oh, you can teach that skill this way. I hadn't thought about doing it that way. And sometimes, like I work at pre-K through grade 12, so I can go into any classroom, any content area, any teacher that invites me in, says I want to try something new, come do it with me. Okay, so it's a lot of fun, but you really have to think like, okay, I'm used to this tool. How does that tool work in 6th grade versus 12th grade versus maybe a 4th grade task? So you have to really think about it. And Pete's going to talk a little bit about prompting in a few minutes to help you with like getting the most out of it in the least amount of time. And then again, why bother? Why should we even worry about all of this? Well, the students are already encountering AI, so we're putting blinders on if we're not doing anything with this. It is going to be in their workplaces. And the more they know about it, and the more they know how to use it, guided by us, people who are informed about how to do this, it keeps us all safe. So the more people know about how to use this stuff and all of these tools, it helps protect the safety of anybody. Does anybody else have any challenges, benefits? And you can just kind of, turn your mic on and just any other big ticket challenges, benefits, or like a why bother kind of statement? Okay, I'm going to move on. We can come back to that, or put it in the chat if you want. And Pete, we're back to you. Do you want to take over the slide deck?
Sure, definitely. And I know a few people came in while you were speaking there, Kathy. So I believe I pinned the link to the slides presentation in the chat, so you should see that there. But welcome. Good to see you, Katie. All right, let me jump over and just jump into a couple of different tools. Now, based on the poll that we did earlier, let's get to, give me 1 second. Based on the poll that we went to earlier, we found we heard that a couple people in here have never used AI before. So one of the things that they talk about in regards from a teacher perspective, getting kind of what you want out of AI, and I know there are other examples of lesson plans and reference letters and differentiation, that there are a couple different ways to achieve that. And the first way that we're going to show you is basically tools that will more or less do the prompting for you. So from Eric Kurtz, and there is a 1 minute, I believe, video that, or excuse me, podcast that I can quickly play. But basically it says that there's no magic prompt. There's nothing that if you prompt the ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot, whatever it may be, there's no magic prompt that's going to get you what you want. Basically, you're going to ask it something, and if you don't like what you receive, then you can kind of change that or continue the conversation to ask for more or to ask for less. But that gets into like actually writing prompts. If you don't want to create your own prompts, there were 3 specific tools, or 2 specific tools I believe he talked about, but we shared 3 with you on the next slide, that does that for you. And basically, instead of writing out a prompt and asking a chatbot, a large language model, to do something for you, all you need to do is fill in some key information. And what will happen is the lesson plan, the differentiated material, whatever the case may be, will be created for you. What those tools do, and tools like that would be Magic School. I know we talked about how I think it was Laurie that was just trained on Magic School. Magic School does that. Conmigo does that. I know somebody had written about Conmigo in one of the poll questions. And what they'll do is just ask you, what's your learning objective, what grade, anything else I need to know. And I'm going to take you to Conmigo in just a second to show you that. But what that tool does is it basically uses ChatGPT and then creates it for you. So Conmigo, for instance, will generate the prompt for you. It goes to ChatGPT, uses ChatGPT, but then responds to you in Conmigo. But for those of you who have never used AI or have never prompted AI before, my recommendation would be to start there. And I've linked both Conmigo, which is completely free to use. I've linked Magic School, which is not completely free to use, but the free version does include a bunch of features that may work for you. I did link what features you get with the free version of Magic School. Excuse me, in a lesser known website is Teacher Server, which kind of has a bunch of already created prompts for you. I'm not going to spend a ton of time. I'm going to show you each of them. I'm going to give you a few minutes or maybe a little longer to kind of just maybe check out some of the tools, ask any questions if you have any questions on that. We're going to give you a few moments to kind of mess around with any one of those. If you're familiar with one, you might want to check out a different one. But Conmigo, if I just quickly switch to a different tab, give me 1 second to open up Conmigo. As I mentioned, it's completely free for teachers to use. And as soon as I log in here, I'll show you. I already have an account, so it says, hey, start using it. You already have it. And it looks like this. Once again, if you've ever used Khan Academy, it is from Sal Khan in collaboration with Microsoft, creating Conmigo. But you have, I think, I can't remember the last time, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 26 different tools that you can use based on what your goal is. So if you're looking to create a lesson plan. You would click on the lesson plan tool. And if you notice, they're broken up by kind of colors here. So all of the planning tools are in purple, all of the create tools are in green, so on and so forth. But if you're looking for a lesson plan, for instance, we'll just use that as an example. You click on lesson plan, it's just going to ask you just a couple of questions. What are you looking to teach? What format do you prefer? Level of detail, and then you start the process. So it's asking questions of you rather than you writing out what exactly you're looking for. Then based on that, it creates something for you. Completely editable, can be exported to, I will show you in just a second for something that I've already created. Where do we want to go? My document. So this was, well, that's probably not the best example. That's not the example I want to show you. Let's go to a lesson plan I created. Well, let's just use this one. This was a poem that was created instead of a lesson plan, another tool within Khan Academy. But you have the availability to export it to Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive. None of us are Microsoft districts, so that doesn't apply. And you do have the option, depending on a specific tool, that you can export directly to a Google slide. So you can, whatever you create, you can push out to a Google slide, depending once again on the tool that you use. So you have some options once again with Khanmigo and how you're going to share it out with your students. Create tools. You see everything there. The differentiation, because I know some people have talked about differentiation, making whatever you teach relevant to your students is a good tool. Leveling whatever text you need to share with your students is a great tool. And then also the real world context generator seems to be a popular tool as well. So not to spend a ton of time on Khanmigo, because our next session is focusing on Khanmigo, and I think that's April 2nd. Kathy, is that correct?
I'll look.
I want to say April 2nd. So
yes,
we're gonna
April 2nd. Yep.
We're going to spend the whole night kind of going through everything on Khanmigo. But those of you, once again, who aren't super comfortable with writing prompts, this would be probably a good place to start.
Yeah, if you're new to AI and you really haven't done a whole lot with writing prompts and trying to get AI to do anything to do stuff for you that's very detailed and specific, I always suggest to new users is to start with Khanmigo, just because it asks you the questions, you answer them, and in that answering, you're creating the prompt that does the task for you. So Khanmigo is pretty easy to use. It's pretty intuitive. Magic School, yeah, is set up very much the same way.
Very similar. It probably has more tools. If you're a coach, there's a coach's sports practice that you can put in what you're looking for. It creates a practice session for your students. A lot more tools here, but it runs on the same idea where it just asks you a couple of questions and then it creates what you're looking for. So Magic School is another one. There is, once again, a paid version, but the free version does offer you almost all of the free tools there. So not a bad place to start as well. And then the last one I just want to quickly show you is Teacher Server, which looks like this. And there are free, it says 1,086 free AI tools. If you are a special ed teacher, let's go with a social studies teacher, then it kind of gives you, based on some standards, different tools. So you can have a historical debate topic generator here. I'm not logged in, but once again, it does the same thing as the other tool, as the other two websites and their tools, where it just asks you for a couple questions and it generates the information for you.
Can you just leave that up there for a second, Pete, though? If you look real carefully, you'll notice off to the side, that this tool does something that Conmigo doesn't do, in that it does create things for you and it helps you develop your own prompt. But if you look at that list, it has art, music, and PE. Conmigo doesn't really do our related service providers. This tool does. It'll help you with those kinds of things as well. So if you don't think that you're finding Conmigo really appropriate to your content, this tool does have a few other content areas that it addresses. So that's kind of cool, especially for our art, music, and PE people.
Yep, there are a few other kind of interactive tools here as well. On the left-hand side, there was chat with PDF. So you can basically upload a PDF document and you can do all of these things with the PDF document. You can ask it to be summarized for you. You can create flashcards. You can create a quiz. I've never done a PDF document to quiz, but there are a few other tools here as well. Just saw that question come up from Kate. Kathy, did you see that?
Are there any tools that allow you to export material into a Google form or something similar? Yeah. If you do anything in Conmigo, you have what Pete was just showing to you. Anything that you generate in Conmigo can be exported right into Google, and then you can, from there, you can put it into whatever Google format you want. So if you develop like a series of questions, you export that into a Google Doc, you can then put it into a Google form, but it doesn't automatically create a form for you.
Yeah, so the first one that comes to my mind, Katie, is one that Kathy and I presented in the past, and it was Question Well. Mm-hmm. You can go to Question Well. You can paste some text. I will preface this by saying
I'll get the link for that and put it in.
Perfect, thank you. I will preface this by saying I haven't been on Question Well in a while, so I'm sure it's updated somewhat, but you could paste text. I think there was a limit on the number of characters. It generates essential questions, multiple choice questions, I believe true and false questions, and you have the option to export it to like one of 11 different things, and Google Forms was one of them. So definitely Question Well. Well, that's probably the best one. I know Conquer used to do that too, Kathy, I believe.
Yeah, I'm not so sure Conquer's doing. The last time I looked at it, Conquer had not really updated much, but I'm just looking at Question Well. Question Well looks like it's kind of, it looks a little bit different than it had in the past. So oh yeah, you know what? It says right here, info@questionwell.ai. So it's definitely got some new features here.
Yeah, but I know you can, or once again, I haven't been there in a while, but I know Google Forms was one feature you could export to. So definitely check out Question Well. All right, for those of you, if I can just get back to my presentation here, for those of you that perhaps have used one of those three or any other tool to kind of help you get what you're looking for, and you're looking for, I don't know, to learn a little bit more about prompting, there's so many different acronyms out there for what you should be doing for prompting, but this is created by Microsoft, and it's just a simple way to craft an effective prompt. There are, I think in the past when Kathy and I had presented on this, we used the acronym PREP, the ChatGPT, which was, trying to think now, R was role, E was exemplar, P, the last P was parameter, and I forget what the first P was. But regardless, there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can remember how to prompt a chat bot. But this is probably the easiest one. And what you want to write, simply enough, is just a goal. Kind of what are you looking for? Set the context, any background information about your students, how long your class is, whether you want a station rotation, levels of students, whatever the case may be. As many contextual factors that you can provide, the better the response. If you have a source that you can upload, many of the, if not all of them now, Gemini included ChatGPT. There is a plus sign that allows you to kind of upload an example, perhaps, of what you're looking for. So you can attach a PDF, anything from your Google Drive. And this says at the very bottom, expectations, how should Copilot? Copilot, once again, is Microsoft's ChatGPT. Gemini is Google's ChatGPT. How do you want it to respond? In bullets, in less than 500 words, in a friendly and courteous tone, easy to understand, whatever the case may be. So goal, context, source, and expectations. I did provide a link here where it says click here. That gets into some additional prompting. So once again, Kathy and I don't know where you are in regards to your level of comfort with prompting, but Eric Kurtz, if you've attended anything or seen any of my newsletters, I do reference his material quite frequently, but he provided a document on prompt engineering, and he has like 10 components of a good prompt. And for those of you who are brand new to this, we're not looking to confuse you by any means, but for those of you who are comfortable, you can check this out, and he gives a whole bunch of examples there for you as well. So we try to meet the needs of all of our participants here. Let me just go back for 1 second, Kath, and jump back to the presentation. So I want to go into both ChatGPT and Gemini in just a second and use some different prompts. I know there are a handful of Cranston teachers here. They do receive a newsletter from us every 2 weeks. And in that newsletter, in the top right corner, it's called the Prompt Corner. In each edition, if you may, I add a different prompt based on what you're looking for. So if a bunch of the examples are listed there, I did link the actual document as well. So it might be tough for you to see, but emailing parents, differentiation, exit tickets. I've provided examples of prompts for you to use. All you need to do is copy them and kind of customize them to make your own, and then paste them into whichever AI you'd like to use. Role-playing, rubrics, simplifying a concept, writing a conclusion, so on and so forth. So that is all there for you to use at any point. But as I mentioned earlier, one of the things I do want to share with you, and I did give a plug for the newsletter. You can sign up completely free. I'll get to that in just a second. We share resources around Google, AI, and free tools. I try to provide stuff for all levels, K through 12. Like I said, it's completely free. We'll talk about that and get into that in just a second. But for those of you who want to try prompting, I'm going to actually stop presenting here. I'm going to go full screen for 1 second. Awesome. And I'm going to go to Gemini, which is Google's version of ChatGPT. And what you notice in Gemini, as we talked about earlier, is you prompt Gemini right here at the very bottom. You've got a couple of options now. One of them is this Canvas feature. And we're going to play with that in just a second. We talked about being able to upload different sources. If you click this plus sign, you'll see that it provides you with a couple of different ways to upload sources if you need to. But I'm going to grab a prompt. I have a couple here just to save some time. Let's just do this one first. Let me get back into Gemini, and I'm just going to prompt this. So the prompt says, you are a social studies teacher who is extremely knowledgeable in civics and government. Create a lesson plan for a class of grade 8 students that covers the 3 branches of government and includes a variety of activities and assessments. The activities and assessments should be relatable to 13 and 14-year-old students by connecting it to their real world, especially Fortnite. When I click on Canvas, what Canvas allows you to do in Gemini, and this is brand new, it just came out a couple days ago, actually just 2 days ago, I believe, is it's going to open it up. It's going to open up kind of to the right of this window, and you're going to have the availability to kind of edit it like you were working on a Google document. So I'm going to click send. And if you notice, it opened up on the right-hand side and created this lesson plan, which is not fully customizable, but I can change the text, as you can see. I can put in bullets, I can bold, I can italicize, I can make a copy. But the biggest thing, if you are okay with this, is it's now ability or availability to export directly to a Google document. So for those of you who have messed around with this in the past, they try to export it into a Google document or copy and paste it into a Google document. The formatting was always not correct. So you have that availability. And if you notice in the lesson itself, it did say 5 days. I did not tell how many days I believe. So it could break it down to however many days or one period or whatever. It identifies some objectives, tells me some materials I would need, gives me a warm up, some direct instruction, breaks down the different branches, gets into activity 3 being a Fortnite government. If you happen to like that, you can continue the conversation with Gemini, and you can ask it to, hey, I really like the Fortnite government. Can you create a rubric with this criteria? And it would create a rubric for you based on that Fortnite government as well. So you can continue the conversation, ultimately, is what I'm trying to say, that if you don't like what you want, or if you want more of something, you can continue that conversation here. In fact, we'll try to do that in just a second.
Can I
Live examples. What could go wrong, Kathy? Go ahead, go right ahead.
Yeah, just want to interrupt you for 1 second. I do, when I talk about AI and getting to this point and doing the lesson planning, I always remind people that you shouldn't be going way off your curriculum. We don't want people to just kind of be recreating the wheel. So go into your curriculum. Most of us all have digital curriculums now. Go into your curriculum guides, copy and paste. What is the essential question for the unit? What is the goal for the unit? What is the end expectations that students will know and be able to do? What is the assessment procedures? But take those basic information right from your digital curriculum and make sure that you're creating a prompt or adding that, copying and pasting it into your prompts as well, so that what AI is creating for you is aligned to your curriculum. Because that's really important. You don't want an administrator to come in and say, what are you doing? How is that aligned to your curriculum? Make sure that what you're asking it to do is aligned to your curriculum. If you're looking for, like we have in Cranston, we use Study Sync. If you're looking, you've got a group of kids that are really either high level or really low level, and Study Sync is really kind of for the mid to high kids. If you want to pull something out of Study Sync and say, can you take this task and can you break it down into smaller steps or smaller chunks? But the end goal is the students need to be able to do X, Y, and Z. Then you're modifying Study Sync, but with the end goal that they're still going to achieve the same thing that everybody else in the class is. So just word of caution, when you're doing this and you're creating your prompts, I would always have your digital curriculum open as a tab and use some of that information as you're building your prompts so that you're very much connected to your curriculum. I'm off my high horse, Pete. It's all you.
Yeah, and with the availability to be,
I have my little things.
Yeah, no worries. That's perfect. And in fact, since everybody or many people have a curriculum, if you have an example, you can upload it directly into Gemini or ChatGPT, and based on this lesson plan, create some hands-on activities or real-world activities that help students understand the concept of blank, or whatever the case is, based on what you are already given with your curriculum. So just in this example, I'm just going to show you, and we want to give you a few minutes to mess around with Gemini. If it's not turned on for you for school, and if you have a personal Gmail account, you can clearly do that. Use your personal Gmail account. And I'll also quickly show you ChatGPT, but same thing. ChatGPT, there is a free version where you can use a similar prompt. But as I mentioned, based on the new feature in Gemini, once this is created, you have the ability to edit right on this canvas, and then you click Export to Docs, and you'll see that lesson plan, I didn't do anything to it, but you'll see now that it's nice and clean, right on a Google Doc, and can be shared or printed or PDF or whatever the case is that you need. So I did mention that the Notebook LM feature of being able to create a podcast is coming to Gemini real soon. So you might see something that looks like creating or generate audio if you use Gemini. That may be showing up real soon for you as well. But my next prompt, just to continue the conversation with Gemini, I said, I like the Fortnite government activity. Please create detailed instruction for students in a rubric assessing their knowledge. Very general, nothing too specific, but let's see what happens. So it looks like it opened up two different things for me. It did create the instructions here. I didn't give any information, anything specific about the rubric, but that looks like it was created on a different doc. So let's open that one and see what was created. That was created, kind of looks more like a rubric. I'd be curious if I export it to docs, if it looks a little cleaner. Once again, I was very general with my rubric, so pretty lengthy. Depending on your level of students, you may want to make it. I could always prompt Gemini to make it in fewer words or easier to understand, whatever the case may be. Yes, Diana, absolutely. If you paste in a rubric, if you paste in a learning goal, if you paste in a learning objective, anything like that, absolutely. Yep. In fact, I would recommend it. So in Gemini, once again, once it creates these documents here, you can just go back and open the previous one that you had. So if you wanted to go back to the branches of government and change something, you'll see the open button, which will open up or generate a new canvas for you based on what you're asking. Could be used for letters home to parents, newsletters. I know there's a great newsletter tool in both Conmigo and Magic School, but if you use newsletters to communicate with your parents, you can do it within minutes in both of those, or you can use Gemini or ChatGPT as well. So I have 732. I want everyone to have a chance to mess around with Gemini and see what it can produce for you, or just be familiar with the actual site itself. Real quick in Gemini, it's pretty user-friendly. It looks like this. If you don't see anything on the left-hand side, it's just buried there for you. You're looking for a new chat, just click New Chat. There are these gems there for you. No need to get into gems right now, but they do specific things for you. But go back to the slides presentation, click on the prompt corner. It'll open up this document for you. And on the left-hand side, you'll have all these different prompts that you can just copy, customize, and paste into Gemini, paste into Chat GPT, paste into Claude is another one. Copilot, if you have you don't even need a Microsoft account now, but so I don't know, let's say we give everyone maybe 10 minutes or so, Kathy, and that'll give us a chance to answer any questions that anyone else has, give you an opportunity to mess around with Gemini. If you have any other questions while we're giving everybody 10 minutes or so to play with those tools and those prompts and ask away. But I'll set a timer for 10 minutes. We'll give everyone until 7:43, and then we'll just kind of wrap up for the night. We got a couple small things to share, but then that'll do it.
And ask any questions while you're playing, but play with Gemini and see what it can do for you. And again, think about your curriculum and guide it to be doing something that's based on your curriculum.
If you do not have a Chat GPT account, I believe the first time you go to and you can go to Google or any search engine and just search for Chat GPT. But it looks like this is chatgpt.com. I think the first time it asks for your phone number, I believe, and it just sends a one-time code to make sure it's you, and then you can try Chat GPT. Very similar. They also have a deep research. I don't want to get into I don't want to get into too deep with deep research, but basically, if you are looking for some deep research on some topics, you can try that. The deep research with ChatGPT is limited. You can only use it a few times. I don't believe it's as limited in Gemini, but it is in ChatGPT. I'm going to stop sharing for right now and answer any questions that anyone may have. Michelle, it's a great question. For math, like, what do you recommend for math? So what I would try, and I know you're a math teacher, obviously, I would in Gemini or Chat GPT, and I want to even say maybe Magic School has a math problem generator. I believe they do. But if you were to put in what the standard was, and you asked it to create, 5 word problems that are easy to understand for, 7th grade class and 8th grade class, whatever the case may be, then see what results you get there. Diana, are you, which login are you using? What Gmail are you using? Is it a school account?
It is a school account for Woonsocket.
So I think similar to Laurie and Pawtucket, if you're using your school account, they being the administrators in your district, have not turned on Gemini yet. If you have a personal Gmail account, you can get to Gemini with your personal Gmail account to see what it does.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Similar to Laurie, it may take a conversation with upper administration there about turning it on for teachers in your district, and that can be done just for teachers. It was done, or initially was done, for teachers in our district, and when they changed the age requirement from 18 plus to 13 plus, we were able to turn on Gemini for the high school students. So if you can't access it, it's because they haven't turned it on, and try it with your personal Gmail.
Diana, I put in the link to Perplexity. It's an AI bot for math. And it works pretty seamlessly with Google. So you might, if you're a Google district, you might want to play with that. I'm sorry, who asked for math? Michelle, sorry, Michelle, you asked for math. So try Perplexity AI for math. It does give kids kids can put in a prompt, like if they get stuck, they can put in a math problem and ask for assistance through trying to solve it. So yeah, that kind of works. And then Diana, you got it open. I think it says now you got it open. So yeah, everybody should be able to get to, even if you're not using your CPS account, your school account, you should be able to get into Gemini.
Magic School does have a word problem generator on it.
Magic School does,
For
but
math.
is that Lori, is that the paid version of Magic School or the free version of Magic School?
I think I tried it out with the free version.
Okay,
I could be wrong.
yeah. I don't tend to do anything that is going to lead me into a paid site because I work with so many teachers across so many districts and I never know anybody's budget, but nobody's budget can be worse than Cranston right now. So I do all things that I can do for free. We're going to give you like another 5 more minutes to play.
Yeah, I got a timer on here, Kat, so perfect.
Okay.
4.5 minutes. You know, I guess Kathy and I would be remiss if we didn't talk about the elephant in the room and students using AI for a certain task. You know, it's kind of a completely different conversation. I know for those of you at the high school level, and it seems to be kind of slowly working its way down into the middle school and even upper elementary. Students using AI, you know, there's only so much we can do. The AI detectors are not valid or completely reliable. I think it goes back to the conversation that Kathy had shared earlier about, depending on your students in front of you, being responsible, digitally responsible in academic integrity, letting your students know kind of where you are on that, whether or not they can use it. I know it's a completely hot debatable topic because what may be acceptable for Lori may not be acceptable for Emily, let's say, or Tom. So it's completely up to you. But I think if anything, having the conversation, and once again, not with elementary students because you're probably not seeing it as much, but if you are a high school student, a high school teacher and you have high school students, we did link a slides presentation by one of our high school instructional coaches at Cranston East on AI and academic integrity. And she does a good job kind of talking about it and what's acceptable for her. We've got a couple different tools that we could share. Nothing is 100% foolproof, but
Although we have, I don't know if anybody followed this, but one thing that is really fantastic that just happened is a parent sued believe it or not, this is actually good. A parent sued the Hingham School District because the teacher downgraded a student's piece of work because the teacher had determined that the student had used AI. And the parents freaked out and then sued the school district and the teacher personally. And it was upheld in court that the teacher and the school district were not liable because the teacher and the school district had procedures in place. And those procedures are that, first of all, if you're going to use AI, you have to cite it. The teacher had a conversation, did not accuse the student of using AI, but had a conversation with the student about AI and just said, did you use AI to help you? Because I'm looking at this vocabulary word. Can you tell me what that vocabulary word means? And of course, the student couldn't identify it or couldn't define it. And then, well, why did you choose to use this word or this phrase? I've seen a lot of your writing and your writing doesn't necessarily sound like this. And the student kept saying, I didn't use AI, didn't use AI, didn't use AI. But all the questions, clearly the teacher asked, the student could not answer. And so she never even used an AI detector. The teacher did not do that. And the district policy was the students can only use AI at the discretion of the teacher. And the teacher had said, do not use AI for this particular writing task. And the courts upheld that the district and the teacher dealt with it appropriately. So that has now set precedent, which is great for the rest of us, that there has been somebody out there that has figured out a way of talking to kids about their work. And you can do this, you can't do this. And then when you sit down and have a conversation with kids, if you feel like you've got enough evidence to say, no, I'm going to give you another, I mean, the teachers did say, look, I'll give you another chance to do this without AI. And the parent was like livid, saying my kid did the work. Well, everybody and their brother determined the kid did not do their work. So, I mean, but it's nice to know that we now have a standard that's been set, and it's a legal standard, so that we can actually, kind of push back on kids and say, no, I told you you're not supposed to be using it, and this has clearly been generated by it. And we don't even really have to use detectors. If you just talk to kids, they cap to it if you ask the right questions, they're like, okay, they got me.
My timer just ended. That was perfect, Kathy. I think one of the other things with that Higham case is that one of the citations the student used was the AI hallucinating, and it generated a citation that was called Jane Doe, and I forget what the title of the supposed article was, but between that and the fact that the teacher didn't know, it worked in favor of the school district and the teacher.
Yes.
But we'll talk more about hallucination, all that stuff later. So just lastly, the last couple of things that I have, if I just get back to my screen quickly, I did mention the newsletter earlier. Let's open it up one more time. This is the most recent one. As you can see, I try to keep it on one page. I give you Google updates, not all of them, just the ones that pertain to teachers. Anything that I find that's free, I do put on here. If you are a school leader, my most recent one talked about some prompts for school leaders. I know Padlet just came out with some free tools as well, very similar to Magic School, very similar to Conmigo. Sorry, I lost that for a second, which is kind of neat. I'll quickly just show you that, because it looks like, if I can quickly get there, it looks like this, but there was a worksheet generator here, all completely free, a name picker, a couple of different tools there. So just came across that and haven't spent a ton of time on this, but wanted to share it with you in the newsletter, or for the people who view my newsletter. If you are interested, once again, I have no problem sharing it with you. There is a sign up at the bottom here. Just send me an email and I will add you to the list. It comes out at the beginning and the middle of every month during the school year. And then, of course, you have my email and Kathy's email if you have any questions on anything in that newsletter as well. One thing I will say is Cranston is an Education Plus district. So what that means is if you're not a paid Google district, you may not have all of the updates that may be in the newsletter. For instance, being that we are an Education Plus district, we have a tool called Google Vids, which is a video creation, a video editing tool similar to Docs, similar to Slides, similar to Sheets, so on and so forth. But that's only for Plus districts right now. So if you're not a paid subscriber, you'll be like, hey, where do I find Google Vids? You might not have it if you're not you will not have it if you're not an Education Plus district. We talked about all these AI bots. There are a bunch of them out there. We did link, or Kathy did link them here. ChatGPT, Gemini, we focused on. However, Copilot is for mostly, it's a Microsoft large language model, but you can sign up for free. Claude is another one. I know Kathy shared Perplexity. Facebook has one called Meta. X has one called Grok. There's Mistral. There's a bunch of them out there, but the more popular ones are probably the ones listed on this page starting at the top. So if you happen to hear them, they're pretty much the same. They do maybe something slightly different, but they're all the same tools, large language models. Okay, do you want me to just keep my my slide on? Do you
Yeah,
want
you can just leave your slide on.
Sure.
If you can just, I did fix that link. I think, I'm not sure if this one is different, but I also put the link in your the chat room. Can you just click on that? The link. Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to, whoops.
Yep.
Should have done it for mine.
That's all right. You'll be forced. That's the same message they'll get.
Yep. So this is what it looks like. Can you just do, pick like a fifth grade? This is what it looks like. And just scroll down a little bit for me. There you go. And you can see the purple. So I tried to highlight for you, the purple is the stuff that is about like digital literacy and digital citizenship. That's the skills kids need to know to be able to use AI effectively. So these are those skills. When you look at these things, it says like digital access. They have an understanding of search engines. Our middle schoolers tend to know that. Like 6.4 is performing appropriate image search. We don't do a whole lot of images with our kids, especially in our middle schools. But I just did. We did a career day in a fourth grade classroom, and Pete and I were working with the two teachers. And we had the groups of students working on projects like I did. One group was doing restaurants, another one was doing the Rhode Island economies. We did ocean economy. They did restaurants. They did hospitals and healthcare workers. They did community helpers. What Pete and I went in and did was we said, okay, we want you to create some images that go with, after they had done some research. And then we sat there and they dictated to us, and we plugged the prompt in, and we explained to them, if you want an image, your prompt has to start with create an image of, and then they had to repeat that over and over again. And then the more detail that they put in to the prompt, the better the image was. And so some of the images they got, they said, oh, no, that's not what I was looking for. I said, well, how would you change it then? You have to let's recreate the prompt. So it was a good way of modeling for the students how to create a very detailed prompt to get what they wanted to. So these standards are really kind of cool, but when you look at them, they're not complex. They're not complex. And if we did it from pre-K all the way through, by the time they hit middle school, the kids would be using technology appropriately. Okay, can you go to the next slide, Pete? Just looking at my time here. Yeah. So we have a couple of resources here for you. AFT, most of you are from the AFT district. So AFT has created a common sense guide rails for you how to use technology. It's a pretty lengthy document. It's really good, but it's a pretty lengthy document. And I tease AFT. It was like, we don't have a whole lot of time to read stuff. So Pete then used Notebook LM to create the podcast to give you the overview of what's in that. So you just have to listen to it now. I did talk initially about the district policies. So I gave you ours. You can look at ours, which is really simplistic. And you can look at Greenville, North Carolina. It's really robust. So someplace in the middle is where you want to be. But remember, if you have a voice for district policy, remember that AI is going to change every single day, and your policy needs to be able to be fluid with those changes. Otherwise, you're going to be rewriting it all the time. Pete, then, can you just click on Ashley's thing? No, Ashley's thing. Go back. Yep, Ashley's thing. We wanted to share this with you, and I asked Ashley if it was okay to share this with you. Ashley is an ELA teacher at the high school. So ELA teachers at the high school, that's the ones that have the most difficulty with AI. So she created this slide deck. This is a lesson that she does with students over the course, I think, of about 2 weeks. She's calling it academic integrity. Like, how do you use AI, but to do it in a way that is appropriate. So this is literally her slide deck that she uses for her lessons. So you've got her unit. If you go through this, you can make a copy of it. You can adjust it a little bit. You might want to change a little bit to make it more appropriate for the classes that you teach. But you don't have to create the lessons on teaching high schoolers how to use AI appropriately. Ashley did it for you, and she is allowing us to share it with you. So that's a really great resource. Laura, you still get a denied message on the SD standards, even from the one that I shared in the chat room? Check that one.
Yes.
Okay.
Both of them.
That's weird. Okay. I'll work on that.
I requested access. I don't know if that goes back to you. Or
It
if
will
you
go.
can
It will go
share
back
it.
to me, and I will give you access. Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep. Okay.
The last couple of things we have, thanks for taking some time out of your night. I know sometimes the last thing you want to do is jump on a video call for an hour and a half this evening, but Kathy and I do try to provide you with either free resources, something that you can take away and use in your classroom tomorrow. We are always available to answer any questions that you may have, any issues that you may encounter. We'll try to work through with you, whether you're from Woonsocket or Warwick or Pawtucket, whatever the case may be. You do get a PLU certificate for an hour and a half. If you click on that link there in the slides presentation, that should be generated for you. As soon as you submit, you should get an email sent to you with that certificate. But if you have any issues with that, then reach out to either one of us. Our emails, I believe, are on the second slide there, but I'll check that in just a second. And then lastly, I did mention the podcast, and I know we're getting close to 8 o'clock and not to necessarily share this with you now, but if you have a second, all I did with Notebook LM is I took this presentation, I put it in Notebook LM, and I said, generate audio. And if you're interested in seeing what that sounds like, not that you have to listen to the whole thing, click on that link and check it out. Even if you listen to the first minute or so, it's pretty wild. And we're going to spend some time exactly, or specifically, I should say, on that tool and exactly how to create a customized podcast for you. So if you have any questions, thanks for putting in the future sessions, Kathy. There is a feedback form that we will, in the event that you don't have time to email us or whatever the case is, you can wait on the answer. You should be able to access that form. But if you send that, we'll be notified and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Future sessions, it looks like we're linked there. Thank you very much, Kathy.
Yeah, and I just want to say the future sessions are different than this session. This is kind of a big picture overview of AI and kind of the ethics of AI and how to use it. But the rest of them, most of the rest of these are like next time we're strictly going to do Khan Academy and Khanmigo. That's all we're going to talk about. We're going to give you time to play. We're going to help you play with it. We're going to show you a lot more of the features in detail. So it's just about Khanmigo. If Rhode Island just signed on with Khan Academy for our 11th and 12th graders to be able to use Khan Academy. So if you're in a district that signed on with RIDE to use Khan for free, Khan Academy and Khanmigo for free with students, this would be a really good one to come to because we'll show you how to use all of that. We're going to do an entire session on Notebook LM because there's so much you can do with Notebook LM, and that's a lot of fun. And then you'll be able to create all sorts of things. Notebook LM, a lot of people think that that's more like because it creates podcasts, more of a middle school, high school thing. But I've done it with a 5th grade. And I would easily say I could go down with that because it creates a podcast. All of our kids are like listening to podcasts now. Even our younger students are listening to things and they're okay with listening to it. And for my younger students that are low-level readers, I can give them a summary statement of any text and they can listen to it. So that works out really well. Brisk is it's another tool. It's like Claude. It's another teacher tool like Khan Academy, and Brisk works similarly, but it's I find that Khan Academy, Khanmigo is a good entry level for new people. that are using AI, because it helps you create those prompts as Pete showed you earlier. It gives you questions, you answer them, it creates the prompt for you. Brisk, you have to kind of be able to do some prompting on your own. So we'll spend a whole session just on Brisk. Then there is the AFT has developed 3 different PD sessions on AI, one of which is AI literacy. It goes a little bit more in depth into digital citizenship, digital literacy, the ethics behind AI, things to think about. How do we teach it to kids? And so we got permission to do that in Rhode Island. I think we're the first state or districts to pilot that being used, because it's going to be a national thing, but I don't think it has not been used nationally yet. So I think we're the first ones that got permission to use it. And then the last one we're going to do is using AI to plan and generate project-based learning. So if you're into doing project-based learning, and even if you know nothing about project-based learning, we're going to give you the easy way to do project-based learning, because AI makes that whole process a lot easier. So that's what's coming up. That's what we're talking about. If you have some suggestions, please let us know. We can add more sessions in. So we appreciate you coming. If anybody has any final questions, we can stay on for a few minutes, but it's 7:58, and thank you so much.